Three friends, one amazing series of YA novels, an insatiable thirst to relive the glory that is K.A. Applegate's literary masterpiece. This is Animorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Hello, and welcome to the Dork-Bajir Chronicles, a Animorph podcast where we read through the Animorph series one book at a time and talk about it every week. Today we'll be talking about Animorphs number 22, The Solution, which is part 3 of the infamous David Trilogy. My name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden, canonically the Marco of the group.
So before we get into the summary, which will be done by Braden, I have one piece of fan mail I want to get to.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
This piece of fan mail comes from Gwyn Laniso, which I am sure I'm pronouncing wrong, on Twitter. And they explained to us, or to me anyways, because I was the one that was so adamant.
I mean,
about
like, I saw it.
It was more because I was so angry about this particular point. But
That's true.
You could... In 1998, which is when the book was published, I think, somewhere around there. Anyways.
But you weren't even born yet.
I mean, I was definitely born yet. But
are you
emails...
sure?
Wait, let me travel back in time. No, okay. Emails apparently were stored often locally, right? So the idea being that, like, you could actually have a local email client was totally foreign to me. I didn't know you could do that. But because of that, you could actually time an email to send out at a certain time, and that email could be stopped by unplugging the computer because the computer would have to be on to send out a local piece of memory. So...
Oh, shit. You got owned?
It does make sense. That does seem like it makes sense to me now why we don't do that anymore, because it's a fucking stupid system.
Yeah.
Right? But thank you, Gwen, because it's likely that I was wrong and my outrage was misplaced.
Oh,
I'll
damn.
find another place for it.
You got corrected on the internet like a chump. All right, let's get into that good breakdown, shall we?
Okay.
You're speaking on the radio with a Brady and the band. Brady and the band. Brady and the band. Wake up. Tessa and Mikhail, you are the band. Wake up.
Nah.
Cool. I feel like I'm on drugs now. Like, I think what you just said put me on drugs. The kind of drugs that you would have to be on to defeat a serious illness. Because that joke made me sick.
I have been told by many people that my voice intoxicates them. So you are not the first. All right. Let's get to it. So we open up with a probably our first surrealist goof of the series, with Rachel in an elephant morph trying on dresses at the mall, but none of them fit her because they don't have dresses for elephants. And then she's like looking down at herself and sees a little orange blob in her rolls, and someone yells, "Oh my god, you killed Kenny," in reference to then topical and oddly still topical South Park. Tessa, would you like to say the meme?
Oh my god, you killed Kenny? No, you mean this referencing the good South Park humor. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, whichever one you want. Yeah, it's your...
killing Kenny is the good South Park humor.
Hey,
so I feel like that's it. That's the joke.
It was so bad. It was so unnecessary and like weirdly topical. It's like, probably at the time.
It's like, I'm sorry, we don't have size 312. And then this orange sweatshirt, which I never watched South Park as a kid. And I still have never watched South Park. So, but like as a kid, the reference went completely over my head. I was like, okay.
Do you think this reference is why they brought in Trey Parker and Matt Stone as ghostwriters in later books?
I mean, it could be. They were always angling for that brand deal. I mean, you know, Catherine and Michael, they're like, they want to get that money, right? They're cranking out these books once a month. They got to get paid for it.
For those at home, in case you didn't know, in case you couldn't guess, Trey Parker and Matt Stone actually ghostwrite book 24, The Queef.
Yep.
All right.
Spot on.
All right, let's get back to it.
It's great because book 24 is all about fetishes already. So, like...
Oh, yummy. Oh, I can't wait.
Follow up for the puberty book.
No, the puberty book where they explore each other's bodies is the next one. Book 32, I think.
Yeah.
42?
Oh, mommy. All right. So Rachel is awoken from this dream by Axe ramming at her window as a birdie bird. And she's like, is it Tobias here for a night quickie? And Axe is like, too much information. No, Tobias might be dead. Jake sent me to get you. You remember the events of the last book. I won't bore you. These are Axe's actual lines. So they fly to the mall and they're hearing the alarm. Rachel sends Axe to investigate. She sees they find Jake like bleeding out in Tiger Morph on the ground. And they quickly detective out, we don't have to do anything. They'll call a vet, and it'll be Cassie's mom showing up. And then, there's only one vet.
I mean, there's only one tiger vet. Come on. They're not going to go get, like, Dr. Bob from, like, Animal Central.
They have a zoo.
And that's why Dr. Bob's going out of business. God damn it, Tessa.
This Cassie's mom keeps coming in and fixing all the small cats and the big cats.
They have a zoo nearby. I don't think it's much of a stretch to think that the zoo has more than one person who could, like, tranquilize and then shut a tiger.
Nah. Cassie's mom is the best. She's the best. She's the best vet.
Yeah, Animorphs is actually a post-apocalyptic story, and there's actually an entirely different side story about Cassie's mom being the last vet on Earth and the adventures she has there. This is actually in the same universe as Fury Road. It's a prequel.
Okay, yeah, right. Jesus.
Well, of course, yeah, right, Mikhail. It's a free-form, jokey joke. Come on, I'm just throwing it. I'm throwing the pasta at the wall, seeing what sticks. Don't fucking complain when you grab it off the wall and say too much air.
We're just over here being like, there's no water in that pot, Brayden. You've been trying to cook that pasta for years.
I know, but you keep on putting it in your mouth anyway. You're the hungry ones.
Trying to turn that sexual somehow. That's not happening.
It's pasta. You put pasta in your mouth, whether it's sexual or not.
Okay. But, like, come on. Rachel and Axe just go fly spy on the only two controllers that are here. And they're just like, we want to be alive. So we're not going to tell Visser 3 about this almost dead Andalite bandit that we are not going to kill.
You skipped over that Rachel sees a busted open jewelry store, immediately assumes David is robbing the place.
No. That's the alarm that they hear. They first land, demorph to human. Rachel gets Axe to demorph to Andalite, and they hear the alarm, and they think, oh, David is stealing jewelry, so she sends Axe to go stop him. And then David comes in as a lion and is like, haha, it's just a clock that made that noise.
Yeah. And they fight. He throws Rachel, like, over a balcony, but she, like, uses her gymnasticisms, her gymnastomancy to save herself. And
I mean, he doesn't throw her. She, like, falls, is holding onto the edge, and he's gonna bite her fingers so that she falls to her death, and then she leaps and gymnastomancies.
The lion word for throwing and threatening to bite off a cliff are the same thing.
Oh, my mistake. Right.
The lion language term is long live the king.
Gymnastomancy.
Nice. Yes.
Path of the balance beam.
And David, even though David could reach her with, like, his big paw, but he's not gonna kill a human. That's his whole bit. Like, a hawk or a tiger, sure. But he won't kill a human.
I don't think David really has a bit, but yeah, he gets away. They fly around as flies for a bit, spoop on those guards that were, or cops that were actually controllers that are scared of Visor 3. Jake gets home, and Rachel and Axe fly spy. Yes. They head over to Marco's place to go grab Marco, who they find sleeping happily in bed. They mind speak for him to come awake, and he gets up, and as Axe flies in the window, Marco brings out a bat and smacks him across the face, which would kill a bird. Which would fucking murder a bird, especially from a boy strong enough to break a plexiglass ceiling with a baseball. We have established Marco is a superhuman. Don't chicken out on me now, K.A.
His shoulders are barrels. Like, he doesn't so much as morph the gorilla as the gorilla morphs into Marco.
Marco actually gets smaller when he becomes a gorilla. He needs the speed boost. It's actually like he becomes the Flash. But we find out that Marco is actually tied up in the closet or whatever. And Marco with a bat. Haha, it's me, David. Don't worry, I didn't kill Marco. I don't kill humans. This is obviously a convenient rule so that I don't kill anyone in a convenient time and place. And a weird caveat to have.
I mean, the kid's 13. He's got to have some morality, right?
I think no. God, no. 13 is when I had the least morality.
And this is when we know that Brayden is the David of the group.
Okay. You know what?
What was that show? Did you guys watch Criminal Minds?
Yes.
Religiously.
There's a part in Criminal Minds where like the show is like for people who don't know, it's like people who don't get a lot of evidence about a murder or crime, and they have to kind of like piece together a psychological profile of these people. Anyways, they're like, it doesn't work. This system does not work for children or teenagers specifically, because all teenagers profile as psychopaths or sociopaths or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was very appropriate.
Yeah. Confirmed. Criminal Minds is a shared universe with Animorphs. All right. So as David morphs into a golden eagle and attacks Rachel, who's in a great horned owl morph, which would not stand up to it, but then is saved by Tobias. I would just like to point out that in the notes, Tessa has made the excellent joke, Deus Ex Machina.
Thank you. I was pretty proud of that.
Yes. David doesn't realize that it's Tobias. He still thinks he has killed Tobias. It is nighttime, but still a little convenient. That is, that's pretty much, that should be the title of this book. The Convenience. ...
No. That's later in the series when they go to a convenience store and acts as a human. It's just like throws shit on all kinds of different shelves because they're terrorizing a blind woman.
Yeah.
What? It's not funny if I don't know the context. Spoilers aren't funny if I don't know the... Marco masturbates in an oven.
That's not a spoiler. Like, you really think they're going to do that for a mission? Just go to a convenience store? Yeah, they go to Kim's Convenience.
The mission is there's a new alien species that's defeated only by cum. Honestly, though, Brayden, there's some buck wild alien species coming up that I'm super excited for you to experience.
As buck wild as cum killers?
No, that's my own personal fantasy.
Book 24 is kind of similar to that.
I want the next... If the next Marco book isn't the adventures of... all the other Animorphs have fallen into a coma, and there's an evil race of hot green alien babes that can only be defeated by Earthmen cum. I will be very disappointed. if it's not just straight 90 pages of Marco laying pipe to save humanity. In case you guys forgot, which I had. There's also some bullshit with like the president and the prime minister and other.
Before this, it's the next day after all of these shenanigans, and the kids are absolutely exhausted and sitting together at a table. And David comes in Marco Morph again, and they have a chat. And then Marco David leaves and demorphs, and Rachel goes after him. And Jake says to Cassie,
and threatens him with a fork.
Let her go.
Yeah.
And then Rachel jams a fork into David's ear and threatens to twist it, and threatens his family.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's
that's pretty critical for like the character development of Rachel.
Yeah, that's Rachel's like inner monologue. Is that like, I don't want to be like this. I would, I mean, you can choose to just not. Then I don't know
if it's not that she doesn't want to be like this, but more that she's uncomfortable that this is what people are seeing of her, and she's kind of realizing for the first time that that's what she's been putting out into the world, and that's what people are reading.
I think it might also be the first sighting of what I think from now on is going to be called like the C plot. C for character development, because a lot of the upcoming books have like a lot of shit going on.
Yup.
That is not covered by both like, hey, there's like the exposition part and the character development part. Not anymore. Now there's like 3 plot lines, 2 there's a bunch of shit going on. Yep. So anyways, I just wanted to say that. Because the next book especially has quite a bit of different shit going on.
I guess I didn't really enjoy the subplot of like Rachel coming to like realizing or coming to terms with or fighting with this violence inside of her, because it's not her inner vision of herself. Because like we've known that for quite some time, and we have crossed the bridge like, oh, Rachel acts like the cheerleader girl next door, but is actually a bit more like Mean Girls meets Lord of the Flies. Like, we crossed that bridge a while ago. It's this book for me was just sort of like, okay, Rachel, catch up. Come on.
Well, it's kind of interesting because it really shows that Rachel as a character, she doesn't have a lot of emotional intelligence. As you say, like, especially versus maybe Cassie, who knows a lot more about, like, beneath the surface and is always thinking about herself and, like, what does this mean for her and who is she? Like, you know, maybe bloviates too much about it, but Rachel doesn't really think about herself a whole lot.
Bloviates. Good word.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you.
We must be using the same word calendar. I saw that one.
Anyway, let's. I want to have more discussions about Rachel, but we're almost done the plot.
Yeah, the kids morph rhinos and elephants, and they stage a little assault on the Marriott that they had tried to sneak into the last few times, and basically just salt the earth and get all these world leaders to retreat, thinking there's an assassination attempt. There is a comedic moment where an unnamed world leader who doesn't speak English is like sitting in his underpants when they burst in, and he just stares Rachel and I think Marco down.
Marco.
Yeah. And is just like, fuck, and like his guards come in with assault guns, and he's just like, no, they were just leaving. And they do. Yeah.
No, it's so
and
good.
Like, this was the 90s. That's gotta be that I believe Grant our Grant of the KA team was Canadian. You know, that's gotta be Jacques, right? That's gotta be Prime Minister Jacques
Cousteau.
Oh. Yes, Prime Minister Jacques Cousteau.
Chrétien. Right.
That's not Jacques, that's Jean Chrétien.
Yeah, it totally is.
I'm
That's
totally fucking up that French.
Jean Chrétien doesn't really have a bright persona in retrospect anymore. He was a very controversial figure even then, but he was always to Canadians, he was always seen as like a tough guy prime minister who like would like, you know, he got pies in the face, but would like conk out the guy, or like he got when people were like blocking him, he would like give him a throttle. I could definitely see that this being Prime Minister. I could definitely see this being Chrétien, just like, ho, 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 an éléphant sans foin? No, put down your guns. I never needed a gun.
I would think it'd be more Pierre Trudeau.
That's what I was
so than
thinking,
Jacques
yeah.
Cousteau.
I feel like Pierre Trudeau was a bit more of like a suave guy. He would charm the pants off an elephant and and you know, like any given Cuban. But I wouldn't see him like, you know, like strong jawing it.
I don't know if that's true. I feel it because like
Fair.
at one point, oh my god, we're totally not going to talk about this, but he declared like martial law in Canada. People were like, "Are you fucking
Quebec.
kidding me? Like
Yep.
this is like the 70s. You can't do that."
Wasn't that
He's
just
like,
Quebec?
Fucking watch me, and then he does, and it's like that's a power move.
Yeah. Bleeding hearts. Let them. Yeah, there was their bleeding hearts. Let them bleed. I believe is the quote.
Like
yeah.
It's a pretty good line. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, after that, they swim away as dolphins, but are chased down by a killer whale, also known as an orca, who is revealed to be David, although it honestly doesn't really matter that it's David. It could have just been a regular orca.
No, because they point out that it's weird that it's just one orca, because orcas typically hunt in packs.
True, which we'll learn more about next week on Live from the Garden.
Ooh. I'm positively hard in the blowhole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They manage to just sort of, it's a very simple plan. One of them drops back and then turns into a whale and chases it, a bigger whale, and chases him off.
Yeah.
We continue, and they try to come up with a
plan to deal with David. That's that bit. Oh wait, first the saddler thing. The saddler thing.
That doesn't happen yet, does it?
Yep, that happens before they come up with a plan for David.
Okay. David killer whales, great one. They don't come up with a plan yet. They head to the hospital because Sadler, their cousin that you may or may not remember, I didn't, is in a coma after a bus accident, is on the downturn, so they gotta head to the hospital to say goodbye to a dying relative, which, not gonna lie, that just plain bumped me out.
That was one of those things also where it's like, well, the only reason they're talking about it this much is because it's going to be a plot point for the main book.
Although even though it was a plot point, every time it came up, it still managed to like slow down the momentum, because like it's obviously setting up for what David does. Like that's obviously their plan when it happens. But at the same time, I never felt like I never felt like it was worked in organically. It's just like somebody knocks on their door and is like, hi, it's time for a little monologue about young people dying.
I mean, it kind of, I don't know. I mean, yes, it sets up all this stuff with what's going to happen with David, but it does give a moment here in this book for Rachel to have a nice conversation with her younger sister about like bad things happening. And it kind of shows like, yeah, kids will die. Maybe they don't die fighting to save the world from brain stealing slugs, but they can just die from being a kid. Right? And it's kind of tragic, and it kind of, not like totally because they never talk about it or reflect on it, but you can kind of draw parallels of like how sad the parents of these kids are going to be if any of the Animorphs die.
Aren't they like pretty explicit about how shitty that kid is though?
Yeah, they just straight up call it. Yeah. Every honeyed word, every honeyed piece of poetry about the death of the flowering youth is weighed heavy by the idea that they're just like, but you know, Sadler's a dick.
I think the idea is like, it's like as tragic as this show can be at times, or this book series can be at times. It can't be that tragic. Like, you can't have like kids just dying, even though there's no like cosmic reason why they deserve it.
Yeah, I mean,
like, as an adult, obviously we can handle that, but as a kid, I don't think I could have handled that.
All right, we have completely lost the plot
all
of
right,
this.
so they go to the fucking hospital, and Sadler's not doing very fucking well.
No, that's what they're
told. And then
told.
he goes to the elevator for surgery, and then he comes back, and he's like, Mommy, Daddy, the lights went off in the elevator, and then when me and the doctors woke up, I was fine. Look at my rosy little baby cheeks. And the doctor's like, wow, his bones aren't broken and he's awake again and he has literally nothing wrong with him. And they take way too, and then Jake and Cassie have the audacity to think they have, sorry. Jake and Rachel have the audacity to think that they have to tell us David stole Sadler's body.
I mean, Rachel doesn't get it at first because she's not even thinking of that. She's just like, oh my god, maybe miracles actually exist. And then she sees Jake's face full of rage, and she's like, no. Nope,
it's also
just
a kid's
David.
book. Like, they're just trying to catch all the kids that like maybe didn't get it right away.
All we know is that so now Brayden has empathy in the sense that he doesn't want to see kids die for no reason, but he does want to see kids understand things for no reason. Like, you stupid kids, you should have just knew that David, as soon as Sadler was mentioned in book 21, you should have known that next month
you right now.
David would have stolen his body.
But I won't, because you're a child. You're welcome.
I'm doing you a favor by not killing you.
Oh my god. We're on so many watch lists now. Hello.
I know, it's awful.
Hi,
spies.
FBI.
I admit to nothing. I've done nothing wrong. I've made very good jokes this episode.
I've actually done all the crimes.
Remember Deus Ex Machina?
Oh boy.
That was a good one.
That actually, a joke that good gets you diplomatic immunity in most African countries.
Diplomatic immunity, and now I have an English passport.
All right. Okay. I don't think you understand what diplomatic immunity is. It's not like you're James Bond. It means like...
No, but I get both of them, Mikhail. That's what I mean. It means
sorry.
I have diplomatic immunity, and now I'm a dual citizen.
You get diplomatic immunity and one free murder anywhere.
Yep, that is how it works.
Yeah. All right. Touchy-feely. Sadler David is like, Mick. You have found my evil plan. Now give me the cube, or I, as Sadler, will tell on you. And it's like, wow, why did you even become Sadler then?
Good
He thought it was Sandler. He thought the cousin was Adam Sandler. That was his thing.
He was
Sandler Bing.
He thought he could usurp the life of glamorous celebrity actor Adam Sandler. And you know what? He did. Jack and Jill, that's David's fault. Honestly, I have had troubles really hating David for all the reasons previously described. If you told me that he went on to become Adam Sandler, no problems. Fucking shoot him right in the dick. Leave him to bleed. Bleed him out.
So the kids try to come up with a plan to deal with the David problem.
And they do, but we don't know it. We assume they came up with a good plan.
Where he explains what he would do with the morphing cube, because it's sort of like, why do you even want it?
Yeah, that's closer to the end when
about.
Okay,
you're right. Okay, keep going.
So they make a little plan to trick him. Cassie informs them that when they got the cube, she got Axe to take it into its component parts, and they hid it back in the construction site. They all go to the construction site, minus
no.
Tobias.
First, David comes up to them and it was like, I want Rachel to lead me. And they're like, no, Cassie is the only one who knows. And they're like, no, I was there in the barn. I know that Rachel knows. And
yeah, they're at
Jake
the construction
calls
site.
Stupid in the Taco Bell. This is when they're in the Taco Bell. They're in a Taco Bell. There's a whole bit with Axe like slurping up hot sauce.
And Rachel fake cries.
Yep.
I was going to mention that part too. I just wouldn't have mentioned that it was in a Taco
to the
Bell.
construction site. So obviously you weren't gonna
Tessa,
mention
don't
it.
make him mad. Don't make him mad.
Brayden, you don't do the fucking summaries fast enough. No, wait, you didn't mention that the Taco Bell conversation was in a Taco Bell. Fuck's sakes.
I mean, it's the one time that they mentioned Taco Bell outside of McDonald's. Come on. Catherine
love
and Michael
Taco
worked
Bell.
hard for these brand deals, Brayden. We are going to honor their legacy.
They have a little plan. They pretend to cry. They pretend to be upset with each other. And Jake's like, oh, Rachel, you're so dumb. The plan's already fucked up because of you. And then Rachel leads David through a little swamp puzzle or sewer puzzles. And they grab all the pieces.
They're both rats at this point.
Oh, yes, they are both rats. David tells them to go in a Coke bottle as roaches. And they do, and he closes it up, and he's like, ha-ha, flawless. But we know that Tobias is just out there, and that's not even a deal. So then they trap him in a cage, in a rat morph, and then wait out the time, the 2 hours, to make him a permanent rat. And then everybody lives happily ever after.
Yeah.
That's where it ends.
David, at one point, David thinks that, oh no, I've realized the game, and he grabs Rachel's tail, and she spins around and chews off her own tail so that she can run out. But like somehow she chews off her own tail so fast that David doesn't have a time to let go.
I mean, rats have actually an incredibly high bite strength.
I guess she could just bite through it in one bite.
Also, we'll learn this next week, but like there's some shit about rats that makes this whole thing totally redundant, honestly.
Oh, mama, tell me all about it.
So when a mama rat... No, okay, go ahead.
So this is a really good book. I feel like this is Rachel's strongest book in terms of her character from the whole series, really. Like, you really kind of get to know her, and she's like, oh, wait, shit, now I have this whole... like, I'm not just a warrior. I'm also kind of really into the violence. And like her dynamic with Jake shifts, and they both kind of shake out into their roles, with Jake being the leader and knowing that he has to use his soldiers in the best way possible, and Rachel realizing that she's a pretty bloodthirsty soldier.
I think it's the first time we see her be like genuinely conflicted, because before she's like, oh man, do I love killing things? I do. Is that wrong? Whatever. Now she's like, wait, other people think I'm a psychopath? I'm not okay with this.
We've never seen that from her point of view of the killing things. There was one mention of it in book 9 from Cassie's point of view, where or maybe it was book 19, where it was like, yeah, okay, Cassie, you don't want to become like me. You'll let the whole world burn as long as you don't have to become me.
So there's also in book 9 where she's like mad about her dad.
That was book 7.
Mm-hmm.
Book 7.
Book 7. And then she's like, no, wait, isn't that a Jake book?
No, book 7 is a Rachel book. 2 and 7 are Rachel books.
That's the Grizzly one, right? Okay, yeah.
And she's not mad at her dad. Her dad invites her to move away with him, and she's like, "Do I leave the war?"
the situation, and then she's like, well, I guess I'll just take it out on these people, and then like fucks people up as a grizzly, and is like clearly using violence as therapy, but doesn't really realize that that's not a good thing.
Yeah, this is the first book where she's actually aware of it, of what she's doing.
Whereas she is in this book, I think.
I didn't really ring with it because, like I said earlier, it's like it's a bridge we as an audience have already crossed, and like you said earlier in book 19, like Rachel had said, "Oh, you don't want to be like me, you know, the violent one. You know, I'm the violent one. You think I'm the violent one? Like, these are all problems that she has already aired and apparently felt and done. And she is crossing a bridge that I thought we had already crossed. I don't know. Well, I do know. It just, yeah.
I think this book is really good for coming up with like a deeper Cassie character too, because Cassie does something extremely evil. Like, she thinks up this really evil plan, and of course it doesn't involve killing someone, because that would be too cruel.
I think a lot of people think like, oh man, Cassie's such a badass because of this plan, but it's like, no, the badass thing would have been to like make him more of a rat and then step on his head. That would have been the thing to do. She came up with the only plan that was like, don't kill him. When in reality, that is totally what they should have done from the get-go.
I mean, they could have made him stuck in the body of a fly, where he would die after like a couple of days.
Also, does this mean that Cassie is like completely fine with torture, but not murder?
I think
because that's essentially what they're condemning him to.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is. That's why it's like in like crazy cruel. Like, yeah, you're stripped of your humanity and you don't even get to fly, which is like the best part about being a hawk.
I think they just didn't expect the target audience to cross that mental bridge of being trapped in this way to a torture scenario. They would certainly realize, oh, that would suck. I wouldn't be able to play video games or whatever. But I don't think they ever meant for them to go, oh, that would suck. That's just like Guantanamo.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that. But I don't know. I think people take this as like Cassie is like, oh man, she's so dark. But it's like, no, Cassie is trapped in like a feedback loop of her own hypocrisy is what's happening here.
Which is like, it's not necessarily dark, but it's like, it's definitely cruel for sure. And like, she's super manipulative. We see this earlier too in the cafeteria right before David leaves and Rachel goes to threaten him with the fork. She like scooches her chair closer to him ever so slightly and like says words that help him feel like a big, strong ego and like hard done by the Animorphs.
There's a thin line between perceiving that as manipulative or just like genuine. I get through Rachel's lens, it could be seen as manipulative, I guess, that she just thinks that's what, but like I don't think Cassie thinks she's being manipulative.
I mean, probably not, but it doesn't matter if you don't think you're gaslighting someone, you can still gaslight them. You know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah, maybe it's genuine, but it's definitely like Cassie coached Jake and Rachel on what to say in the Taco Bell conversation. Like, she told them, say this, so then he will feel this way, so then he will do this, and then you say this, so then he will do this. Like, that's manipulation.
I don't know. I feel like if you're like, she's still confused about like what it is she thinks is correct to do, and it comes out like as an observer, it comes out as like this like crazy manic, like it seems darker than it actually is, which is just like confused about what to do next.
I guess that's fair. Like, but it's still manipulation. Like, she doesn't know how to use this newfound superpower, maybe, but like you I don't know, I know what you mean, where it's like, oh, she's just trying her best and she's confused and trying to do the best way, but I think almost in a sense that doesn't matter because she's still doing it. She's still figuring out, okay, this is the best way, this is the way we can do it, while keeping all of our consciences clear and not killing a dude or letting him, you know, we'll just have him be a rat, and then if whatever happens in nature happens, that's fine. Rats die all the time.
Also, like, maybe we're just running around in a circle here logically because, like, all the best villains are confused about what is right and wrong. They're not like, I want to do the wrong thing. They're like, I think this thing is right.
I think it comes back to again, it comes back to what we've talked about in earlier books, where a big revelation happens, like, sorry, Axe can contact his home planet. Marco's mom is Visor 1. Visor 3 has a brother. Where all of these threads are, there are all these threads, and they are neatly chopped off, but in a way that they could be looped back in if they ring with the audience. David isn't dead. David isn't even really imprisoned. David could rather easily come back in some way, shape, or form if there is enough audience response.
Right.
Yeah, I do not believe that this plan was 100. There are certainly the thematic repercussions of trapping a person as a rat certainly do ring true to an extent with all these characters. But I feel there are other ways that they could have done it, but this way kept David around. One thing that really bothered me right at the end was Rachel and Axe stay and watch David in Ratmorph for the full 2 hours, and we see none of that.
Yeah. We don't get to see the cool part.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with these books, is that they're very short. Like someone notes here that I thought the book ended a bit abruptly, and I agree.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, oh, you're really getting going, and then, badum. All right, two paragraphs later, you've got a haunted island and a memory of the 7th Animorph. Can we talk about this Marriott storming though? Like how they just decide this plan?
It's a very like, hey, remember that thing we started talking about 2 books ago?
Yeah.
We got to finish that somehow.
We got to wrap that up.
Book 21, they're like, okay, we're going to quietly sneak in. And book 22, they're like, fuck it. We're going to be elephants and make them host it somewhere else.
I mean, that does seem to be their basic strategy in the war. It's like, well, we can't figure out a real plan. Let's just fight our way.
Let's just become giant animals and fuck shit up. Yeah.
It is pretty good though. I did just fuck it, destroy it. Then Jake is even like, fuck it.
It was written so nicely. Like it was so it was great.
Like you can hear Catherine and you can hear Grant and Catherine saying, hey, that shit about the illusions and the holograms and the double yerk pools, that was a bit bullshit, right? Yeah. Should we come up with something better? Nah, let's just destroy shit. Yeah, fuck yeah. But back to the rat thing. Just 2 seconds. I can make it 2 seconds long. Rachel is struggling with violence. She comes to terms with violence. In the end, she is put in a box with a guy who might be better off dead. It is flabbergasting to me that they did not think to even write just the short conversation, Rachel, please kill me. I don't want to be a rat. Okay, David, I will kill you. Or, no, David, I won't kill you.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, like, that would be almost too, like, having a 13-year-old beg for death in a book series marketed to 9-year-olds. I mean, might be pushing the envelope just a little bit. They can they can mask away the other stuff because, oh, it's funny kids turning into animals to save the world. But the whole bit of like, yeah, here's a really honest conversation between 2 people about someone is begging for death so they don't have to become an eternal prisoner of war.
I feel like they could have paraphrased it in such a way that it wasn't like literally dialogue.
But they did. They had that one sentence where Rachel said, I stayed there with him for 2 hours while he begged and threatened and pleaded.
But that is what paraphrasing means. Like, it's not literally him saying, please don't kill me, because that would have been fucked up. And if anyone in book number 3 had been like, Tobias, please don't kill yourself, please don't commit suicide, that would have been pretty fucked up for a kid's book. Like,
the editors would have been like, okay, so he basically commits suicide, but no one says the word. All right, fine. And then someone says suicide. They're like, what? Oh, they're just talking about where they mix soft drinks at a gas station. Oh, that's fine.
But have you met like North American censorship? That is how it works. That is
It is how
absolutely
this
it
literally no, like exactly that's how it is. So that's why they had, because they did have that little bit of paraphrasing at the bottom of the book, like the one sentence that was just like, oh yeah, summarizing the 2 hours, it was really sucky. Axe and I said we never want to talk about it again. He begged and threatened and pleaded. What was he begging and pleading for? The sweet release of death.
Yeah, exactly. Although I think as a kid, I probably interpreted that as oh, please let me
out.
Go.
Yeah.
And then as an adult, I interpreted it as like, well, I know I'm dead. Just end it faster for me.
Just like actually kill me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated, though, putting it more directly beside Rachel's character growth in this, because like the moment is there. It's so obvious. Just say Rachel, I mean, we're getting into like, we could have what if we had written it territory here, but I mean, all Rachel would have to say is like, I considered just ending it for him. I thought about the horrible life he would live on that island and considered other options.
Here's an idea. Maybe part of her didn't want to kill him because she didn't want to be violent, yes, but also because she didn't want to think about how becoming a Nothlit was a death sentence. Because she doesn't want to think about how Tobias is going to die in like 5 years because he's living as a hawk in the wild.
Maybe that's why they don't talk about Tobias a lot in this one.
I mean, also because they don't want David to know he's alive, so he just disappears from most of the book.
They don't even talk to Tobias a lot. It's flabbergasting that they make another Nothlit, but it doesn't. Tobias's name doesn't even cross their lips.
Yeah, I mean, like when they're planning about it, and when we see the planning of it, Tobias can't be there because they know David is listening in. And I feel like any other situation, like there's just too much in the book that we couldn't have seen them actually make the plan where they talk to Tobias about that. But yeah, you have to wonder, did they have that conversation where Cassie's like, cool, I came up with an idea, we make him a Nothlit, but it's a rat. He doesn't have cool wings like you do, Tobias. And Tobias gets to, and they get to be like, hey, how do you feel, buddy, about us using Nothlit as a punishment?
Imagine they just like let him loose in the forest, and then one day Tobias just like squee and like eats a rat, and at the last second he's like, thank God. Like you just hear David's voice like he like tried to get Tobias to eat him.
Maybe that's why they put him on the garbage island, because Tobias was like, I do not want to be accidentally eating David.
The garbage island? Is that what it actually is?
They put him on an island with like, it's like a dump island. It's where humans go and they dump off garbage, and it's just full of rats.
Yeah. That's kind of funny.
And now it's haunted because a boy in their school swam by it in a boat and heard someone screaming no.
Just on that topic of Tobias thinking it's like immoral or whatever, I don't think he would at all.
I don't think he would at all, but I think he would have some feelings about it that he would tell absolutely no one and push deep down dark inside of him.
He would tell Rachel.
Would he? Because they don't really have that relationship, and also Rachel is not touchy-feely feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, what else should we talk about? Because
David and the public thought speak.
So the idea is they carry David from the construction site to the island, right?
Yeah.
And so ostensibly, like, the construction site is not on the edge of town, even though in the TV show it looks like it. So don't you think David would be like screaming as loud as humanly possible, like, look up, look up, look up, look up, look up, and like, I'm a rat, like, save this rat, just anything to get people's attention around?
I mean, thought speak ranged, it doesn't last very far, so they probably flew up high enough so that it wouldn't work, right? Like, they probably flew maybe 1 or 2 miles up, and
1 or 2 miles? That's not, there's no way.
How high can a bald eagle fly?
Sorry, how How are you guys imagining this island? Like a plateau in the middle of nowhere?
It's in the middle of the ocean, obviously, and they have to get out there. Obviously, Rachel's going to morph the bald eagle.
Yeah. But what are you guys talking about? Look up?
Like, as they're flying over to the island, they have to get David the rat to the ocean, to the island. And currently they're in the construction site in the middle of town. Now, if one bird carries a rat 45 miles an hour at a speed of 45 degrees, and the other train leaves the station at 9:30... But, like, so Mikhail's thing is that David is going to be screaming in public thought speak to just any old rando on the street, hey, look up at the birds, there's a human in the rat form. But also, even if they were flying under, someone's, like, you hear something in your head all of a sudden that says, look up, the rat. The rat is a human. And you look up and you don't really see anything. You're like, huh, that's weird. The radio is playing some fucked up shit right now. And you go on with your day, right? Like... That's not going to do anything.
I mean, you're probably right. I just feel like it's something that they could have at least addressed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, what if David starts screaming about yerks? Like, he could start screaming about yerks in Thoughtspeak. And then a yerk finds him, and it's just like, how do you know that name? And he's like, oh, yeah, you want to know who the Animorphs are? Here's where they live.
And then they're like, who are the Animorphs? Because they've never actually heard that word.
I mean, like, it's true. It's just an amazing word that Marco made. To go alongside my amazing word, Deus Ex Machina. That should be our first t-shirt, Deus Ex Machina. And just a bunch of, like, hawks that are not Tobias all around.
First t-shirt? Is she not in on the licensing?
What?
Oh, also, Tessa, if you haven't already listened to the episode where me, Adam, and Braden did a live from Friends about snakes, I recommend you do before you continue to be friends with us, because those two guys put you on blast pretty hard.
Oh, yeah. I talk smack about your opinions about dog euthanasia.
You mean I gotta start listening to this show? God damn it. That's enough work to be on it.
You don't have to. Brayden, let's put out another episode together.
Yes.
It's going to be subtitled The New Expert.
You don't have to listen to all the episodes, just the ones where you're not there.
It's not even worth it, because, like, every other opinion other than mine, like, you guys don't know the whole story. I do.
Yeah, that's the point of the podcast, Tessa. Jesus Christ.
Can we talk about this Visitor 3 Morph Minute? Visitor 3 Morph Minute. Visitor 3 Morph Minute. 3. Where Mr. Tony just, like, screams at Rachel Elephant, and Rachel tries to kill him, but she's bleeding out and can't see out of one eye, and so he just screams at her. It's like, I'll kill you, Andalite! I'll kill you!
Yeah, that's pretty funny, especially
as this, like, elephant's like staggering around drunk on blood loss.
Just like, then Gretchen just wanders out, just, yelling at the elephants. It is a great pastime here in Quebec.
I feel like he could also have been like Putin.
Yes. Oh god, my Russian accent is a lot weaker. One of you is gonna have to take this.
Your Russian accent's so bad. Did we do our OTP alert? I can't remember.
No, we haven't yet. OTP alert.
Because
big one, Rachel David starts.
Yeah, Tessa, you've written in here, it's a popular hate manse.
Yep.
Explain.
Yeah. I mean, Brayden kind of did it when he talked about Rachel being in the box with David a couple times, and about how they, are almost, I don't know what he was saying, actually. I kind of blanked out because he kept going on about it. But, yeah, it's a very popular hate man's just because, like, these two characters hate each other so much. And some fans just love to see it when characters hate each other. They love to push them together romantic styles.
Do you guys ever see in, like, movies or, like, shows where they're, like, the main woman character and the main man character are like, you don't understand, my way is the correct way, and she's like, no, you don't have my perspective, and then they stare at each other and they just start, like, making out hard?
Do you mean, like, almost every rom-com ever?
Yes.
Because yes.
Can you, like, Braden is probably the only person who maybe like would understand this, but like I cannot relate to that.
Because I don't want
all.
to kiss someone I'm angry with. I'm so very rarely that angry to be yelling. Except when, I'm on the podcast and defending my Animorphs. This is all platonic.
That's the sound Braden is making when he makes that like snick, 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 snick. He's hate fucking his microphone trying to get through the computer to us.
Oh no.
You know what? You're not wrong, because like you're right. I've seen it in a million movies and shows where
it's extremely popular. People take that anger, passion, and turn it into like heated passion of the loins.
I guess, but isn't it also? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a fucking pansy or something. Because like, there's that movie, I Love You, Man. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And there's those secondary characters, and they're married, and they're always at each other's throats, but then they like fuck like fucking beasts like all the time. And I the girl I was dating at the time when that came out, I remember her being like, "Oh yeah, okay," and I was like, "No, that's like a really awful dysfunctional relationship." She's like, well, I didn't really talk to her about it, but I just like internally freaked out for a minute because it was like, that seems not good. That doesn't seem like a good thing to relate
you
to.
and I are just like naturally happy people who like to get along with other people.
Maybe.
So maybe we should turn to the David of the group. Braden, have you ever hate fucked someone? You ever had an argument and then like had angry sex with them?
Let me think back. I have been drunk for a lot of the sex in my life.
Oh no. Oh no, this got sad and real.
Gosh. I mean, okay. God, I mean, it's not the same, but there has been, I'm just going to say no, but there has been some, slapping.
Well, I think you can be into whatever you want to be into. It's just the idea that like you have to be angry to be turned on. That's fucked up.
Yeah, like we're not talking about like rough stuff, Braden. We're talking about the fact that some people will like use the fuel they get from arguing with someone to bone, which has literally never happened to me. Not just because I'm a virgin, but also because I just don't get angry a lot. I mainly get sad.
I mean, it's gotta have happened at least once, I guess, at this point.
But literally though, like literally in my real life, I've never had like angry sex with someone or like, oh no, we've had an argument and now we're gonna bone down. Like I don't know. And I think it's because I don't get angry a lot. I just get like upset and sad / like irritated about what an idiot this person is, and I disagree with them.
Yeah, same. I was hunting for a joke and trying to use the fact that like our audience doesn't use our sex life a lot, but yeah, I've never been there.
I mean, but you and Marina have like those playful arguments all the time about like, give me back the ring. And so like, I don't know. I thought maybe of any of us
Does that
here,
count?
it would be you guys.
That's not the same thing though, because I do that all the time.
We get down after those sometimes, but it's never. It's never fueled by... I would never say it's fueled by anything. Although that is a bridge I'd like to cross someday.
Oh, Jesus. Let's pretend like we're doing an ODP alert instead of this weird sex thing. Okay. The best part of the book, maybe, is that Rachel doesn't give a fuck about Tobias this week.
That is absolutely amazing.
She literally,
I know.
At the very beginning, she literally cannot think about him potentially being dead because she's so upset about it, and she doesn't want to cry right now. She wants to fuck up David.
And it's great. It's such a great excuse to never bring his name on her lips.
Shut up! They love each other!
Love, get over me with love. Yeah, right. Toss that shit out the window with the fucking bird boy cockorama. Marco's coming in, and he's got his fucking...
Cockorama.
Get out of here with that. Stop. Tobias is the one that saves Rachel. Marco is stuck, trapped in a closet. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's your two heroes. Which one's cooler? Oh, it's Bird Boy.
Wow. The hero is in the closet, so he can't be badass.
And
Really
he's
showing
also
them
literally
true
in the
colors,
closet
Tessa.
because, as we find out in a later book, he's in love with Axe.
He's not in love. Oh my god.
He always
have to,
talks
like,
about how
get
hot Axe
into
is.
this.
He talks about how
know
hot
my
Andalites
girl
are,
is so
how muscular they are. It's crazy.
Listen, it's just a one-time thing, and it's just for the sex, okay? He's like, hey, Axe, can you morph a vagina real quick? And I can put it in ya?
More
You know?
vagina. God damn it. Fuck. Hey, you still got a bit of everyone's DNA in there, if you know what I mean.
You want to have my DNA once more?
Morph the
Wink, wink,
tightest
nudge,
one.
nudge.
Holy shit. Fuck, that's dark. Okay, I think there's probably still a lot more we could say about this. But for now, let's wrap it up. Next week, in our bi-weekly episode of Live from the Gardens, we'll be talking about... what are we talking about? We're talking about the orca and the rat.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear how they fuck. How an orca fucks a rat.
Oh my god, you think the rat just scurries in the cloaca?
I
After
think...
that, we'll be talking about Animorphs number 23, The Pretender, which is a Tobias book. Tessa, where can people find our stuff?
They can find more of our stuff on our podcast page at collectivelegacy.org, and we've also got Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook. We have started asking you for our animal facts. So you'll see Mikhail ask about some animal facts on Twitter there, and you can hit us up in the replies to that with your cool animal tidbits. And that would be awesome.
And if you have ideas for like future, like obviously most books will be doing the morph on the cover. So send me any facts you want about any fucking animal on any cover, and I will find a way to work that into a Live from the Gardens. Believe me.
And also, if you have any ideas about hypothetical questions of the week
Yeah, totally.
with animals.
And if you like our Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr, you'll love our podcast. You can subscribe to it on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and find it on collectivelegacy.org.
For the Phantomorphs, my name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden. X gonna give it to ya. Gonna give it to ya. X chromosome gonna give it to ya.
And this has been Phantomorphs, the David Bajir Chronicles.
Woo! Peace out.
Hello everyone, my name is Jared, and this is Two Nerds in a Basement. Once a week, me and another nerd watch one of the over 70 movies put out by Marvel or DC Comics over the last 50 years and talk about them for far too long.
Can we just take a moment to address the fact that Howard the Duck looks like Martin Sheen?
You just want a Jimmy Olsen torture scene, right?
Something. Don't just shoot him in the head. Like, string him up by his toenails and just go to town on him.
And he's just got this scratchy voice. It's so annoying.
What's our solution to nuclear warfare, 10-year-olds?
It's like, I want to be a witch. I want to explore the black magics, and you get the aesthetic of your dreams, right?
I went straight to the boob grabbing. Hang on. Let me get there.
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy.
a podcast network.